Victor Wembanyama is the greatest NBA prospect of all time. I have heard plenty of claims similar to that one since Victor has really gotten on people's radar. I mean, rightfully so. This is a guy who is 7'4" with the mobility of a guard. Someone who can knock down logo threes, create his own shot, and protect the rim like Rudy Gobert. While I think these claims are definitely valid, I can't help but think a guy like LeBron James might be more deserving of the best prospect ever title. So in this video, I will be discussing if Victor is in fact the greatest NBA prospect ever. But first, I want to give you guys some background on his professional career to this date, and do a full player breakdown on him as well. So let's get right into it. At just 15 years old, Victor became the second youngest player to ever compete in the Euro Cup by making his professional debut in 2019 for the Nanterre 92 club. Looking at his highlights from the FIBA U16 tournament that took place in the summer of that year, I cannot believe the basketball world didn't pick up on him earlier. Victor played very well throughout the entire tournament and already stood at 7'2" with a 7'10" wingspan. He was that tall before he could legally drive a car on his own. Victor started getting a lot more recognition as a player when he went head-to-head against Rudy Gobert in the fall of 2020. In this matchup, he showcased some impressive handles, a 3-level scoring ability, and a silky smooth jumper, giving the world just a glimpse of his massive potential. In the summer of 2021, he played in the FIBA U19 World Cup and was even more impressive. He led France all the way to the title game against USA, setting up for a matchup between Victor and Chet Holmgren, two of the top prospects in the world. And Victor dominated. USA ended up winning that game, but one thing became very clear. Victor was on a different level than any other prospect in the world. Since then, Victor has continued to play professionally in France and is with the Metropolitans 92 club this year, competing in the highest level of French basketball. And he has been destroying competition so far this season, averaging 21 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 blocks in his 7 games played. The thing that really turned Victor Wembanyama into a household name, though, was the exhibition games he played against Scoot Henderson's G League Ignite. More than 200 NBA scouts and executives were in attendance, and just about every basketball fan was tuned in. And Victor did not disappoint with the spotlight on him. In those 2 games he played in Vegas, Victor averaged 36 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 blocks. He left the basketball world in utter disbelief and grew his hype astronomically. So much so that LeBron said this:
"We're labeling like this unicorn thing. Everybody's been a unicorn over the last few years, but he's more like an alien."
Victor will have already played in 4 professional seasons before being eligible for the 2023 NBA draft, which has greatly matured his game and makes him even more prepared to enter the league. So there's a little background on his basketball career so far. Now let's get into breaking down his game. Here are my 4 reasons why Victor Wembanyama has some people calling him the best prospect ever. Reason number 1, his measurables. Like I mentioned earlier, Victor stands at 7'4" and has a 8-foot wingspan. Height is by far one of the most important attributes in a basketball player, and Victor is going to be one of the tallest guys the NBA will ever see. And his 8-foot wingspan is one of the longest in league history as well. Reason number 2, he's a center that possesses guard-like skills. Simply put, a guy who is 7'4" should not be able to handle the ball like Victor. It's honestly unfair. Victor's comfortable bringing up the ball off rebounds and shows confidence in sizing up his defender and getting looks of his own. He clearly will never play the 1 through 3 position, but he shows great upside as a ball handler and playmaker for a big. Reason number 3, his 3-level scoring ability. He is a lob threat and dunks everything inside. He can effectively post up his defender in the mid-range and get open looks in that area with his advanced footwork and deep bag of moves. And he can knock down the 3-ball. Off the dribble faders, shots from the logo, step backs, and one-legged 3-pointers. He can do it all from behind the arc. Victor's most comfortable off the catch and shoot, but his jumper off the dribble has become a lot more consistent these past few months. Reason number 4, defensive impact. With everything I have mentioned about his offense, it is hard to believe he stands out just as much on the defensive end. He's a guy that has depoy potential the second he enters the NBA. Everyone knows that Victor brings a monster inside presence and is a prolific shot blocker, but his agility and lateral quickness allows him to be a solid defender in the perimeter as well. A lot of times, players are intimidated by his size and will avoid shooting altogether, or get blocked because they aren't used to a guy with an 8-foot wingspan. The only weakness he might have is his skinnier size, and how well he will match up against stronger and more physical players. But once he enters the league, I'm sure he will put on some more muscle. And looking at the past few years, Victor has bulked up a little bit. Take a look at this 3-year comparison picture. Victor looks noticeably bigger now than in 2019. So hearing all of this, do you think Victor Wembanyama deserves the title of the best NBA prospect ever? Personally, I think he does. Victor is truly the most unique player the NBA has ever seen. It can be extremely difficult to not be biased in favor of a guy like LeBron, because he exceeded every expectation that was put on him and has cemented himself as one of the greatest to ever do it. But I do think from a scouting perspective, Victor brings a combination of things that could never be passed up on by a team. Regardless if you agree with me or not, this is something that doesn't hold too much importance. For example, a guy like Jabari Parker was without question a better prospect than Nikola Jokic going into the 2014 NBA draft. The thing that really matters is how well Victor can translate his game to the NBA and if he can remain healthy. Because if he can prevent injuries throughout his career, I think Victor has the potential to be one of the greatest to ever do it. If you like this player breakdown, make sure to check out the one we did on Amen and Asar Thompson, because they are the most slept on players in this upcoming NBA draft. A set of identical twins that are looking like generational talents. Thank you guys so much for the support. We will see you in the next one.